their records, their files to be stored. Yeah.
All right. And does blockchain in any way have any kind of principles that it's based on?
Surely, there are. Because whenever they talk of blockchain, there must be some core characteristics that must appear in that picture.
Okay.
The moment you mention blockchain, the very first aspect someone gets to assume is in the picture is decentralization.
Okay.
What I just decentralization could be in so many things. It could be decentralization, it could be distributed, but the whole aspect is about having no center at it all. You see, it is spread out. That's number one. That's the first principle. Then secondly, the notion of records being or information stored on the blockchain being immutable, because once you keep things on chain, what we say on chain, on the chain, there is a limited chance that you can make edits and improvement.
Okay.
That's why you need to be sensitive. Once you deploy information or any code on the blockchain, it cannot be changed. It is immutable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are, when we talk about these kind of technologies that are actually shaping up the trends, one would still ask, why is it the most trusted approach in any way amongst the discussions for people into financial markets and in the financial market space? Why is it looked at as the most trusted approach?
All right. So it comes back to the idea of trust now.
Yes.
What is trust, for starters? Trust is a virtue. It's a belief that it is what it is.
Yes.
You see, the moment I say, this is David Lumala, even if you've not heard of him, you've not seen him, but at least maybe since you trust me,
yes,
and then you trust the voice and say, when he says this is Lumala, it will be Lumala.
It's Lumala.
Yes. So trust is a virtue. So where does let us, for financial markets particularly, let us look at the customer, let us look at the traditional way of how things are done.
Okay.
We don't know how. Okay, there's some probably an algorithm behind the calculation of weighting a shilling over $1 to know the prices of. How do we tell that actually a shilling is 3,700, $1 is 3,700 Ugandan shillings? You don't know. You cannot tell. It is not just outright. It is not explicit. But we trust that whichever person or whoever does the computation, they have the right figures, and therefore we have to abide by what value they give us. So it comes back to the financial markets again, that because of that, opaqueness, because of that, there is no direct knowledge or direction that we can take to know that you do things A, B, and C to get D. In a way, it comes back that someone can just, in that black box, can just use whatever antiques they use, and they manipulate the values. You see?
Yes.
So blockchain as technology now provides you the torch, into that black box. So once you light it, and then you get to know actually this is how things are happening. That's why you can tell that value was moved from point A up to Z, through accounts A up to X, and then tracing that traceability. So in systems where we that have been opaque, blockchain provides so much of potential because it now exposes all the capabilities, all possible mechanisms through which you may have lost the money, or so many systems could have been insecure and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what you did mention about the decentralized systems of blockchain. Are these the only properties that we do have? For example, in understanding it.
All right. So the characteristics are quite many.
Okay.
But so many, the others are descriptive, because once you capture, the moment you talk about blockchain, you must picture a database first and foremost. But this database is decentralized. Once you put in data, it is immutable. You see, then it is secure, of course. Then aspects of censorship resistance. But by censorship resistance, we mean you cannot falter. You cannot actually, that is immutability to a sense. You see, you cannot. If I publish my code in the database on the blockchain,
yes,
not anyone can come and then start manipulating things the way you can store your file on a phone or a PC.
Yes.
Someone can hack that PC or can hack the network on which the PC is present.
And the chances are high that he can tap into your data.
Yes, but if I were to show you the algorithms that are used to secure blockchains, you will scare away, our audience. But
okay,
let us keep it non-technical.
Okay.
The best way we can take it is that you have a blockchain. We believe that a blockchain is so secure.
Okay.
You see, then it is a totally trustless system.
Yes. Or
it minimizes trust, because what we deal with are digits and numbers, and there is a saying that numbers don't lie. So the cryptographic mathematics and mathematical purity that is involved usually gives us the trustlessness of the system.
Okay. And we've talked about trust and everything, because this trust, everyone has got trust issues sometimes. Now let's talk data security. One would still want to understand, let's talk encryption and its role in the blockchain, if we are to put it in that way, because I think data security is one of the key aspects in this evolving world of technology.
Sure. All right, so data security and how it is obtained or attained on the blockchain. So usually it still gets back to the medieval ages.
Okay.
We've seen, we've read history about the world wars and in the past. So in a war setting,
yes,
people would wish to communicate. Okay, you cannot actually, when you find someone in a war setting, like maybe it is nightfall, you cannot tell whether they are on your side or not. Are they friends or enemy? So there must be some way of guaranteeing that once maybe I say my views, my enemy may not know or may not directly know that I'm the enemy, or you see. So it brings in the aspect of being secret and the secrecy bit. I'm building the idea to encryption now. So when you get there, now we have to maybe a particular war faction is in town A, the other one is in town B, but they have allies in the other and spies in the other town as well. So they want to keep communicating between them and their spy in the other camp.
Yes.
So there must be a way of sending direct communications. And by the way, the assumption is these two warring parties understand the same language, like they can speak the same language and they understand. So there must be some way of jumbling the language such that you can speak to your spy without the people, his spying on knowing that you're actually speaking or communicating in some way. You see?
Yes.
So the notion of you jumbling the communication and making it not quite fathomable, understandable to everyone is the science of encryption.
Okay. And do we have any restriction or any kind of limitation on the kind of records that can be kept in blockchain? If for example, you have your phone, you have your smartphone, or your personal computer, and you feel like you need to, keep some records, in a way you do this kind of, because we deal with numbers and figures.
Sure.
And then sometimes you feel like, I need to be keeping up everything under this account. Is there any restriction or limitation?
No, not really, because as I said, it's a database. It is just recipient of all sorts of data.
Okay.
So
it's just you commanding the kind of...
Yes. Actually, they are dedicated, these days they are dedicated blockchains that deal with data storage particularly.
Okay.
So there are these other, general purpose blockchains that can be used for anything, but there are those like Filecoin and Aave. For them, they're particularly for perpetual storage on chain.
Now let's look at the evolution of blockchain. I think this would have been even one of my first questions. We've seen technology evolving, and I want to always ask people who are engaging in such technologies, discussions in financial markets, or people who trade, for example, in the new era of digital, on the digital currencies and everything. how do we tap into, how do we come by with the blockchain technologies? What brought us here?
All right. So ideally,
Yes.
the very first known instance of a blockchain is the Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay.
You see, and the person who, or the group of people who introduced who gave us the notion of Bitcoin,
Yes.
wrote a very kind of crafty note,
Yes.
what we usually call the Bitcoin white paper. But the headline was introducing a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Okay.
Mark peer-to-peer, then
Cash.
electronic
Yes.
and cash system. Why? Prior, the white paper came out in 2009, but the project must have been in construction and development prior to that. But before 2009, from 2008, I think late 2007 to 2008, there was a financial crisis. People lost homes. For people who understand and follow the financial markets, of course, they must know how that came about in 2008. So this guy pops up, and you know what? We cannot keep on trusting this cash system that we use. You see, because banks can make money out of nowhere, and they cannot fully legitimize the source of or the backing of that money. Why don't we have a unique sort of cash system that is known and transparent to everyone? A cash system which can accommodate transactions between me and you without any other interference from a third party, involvement of a third party, usually like central banks and banks themselves or any other financial intermediaries. So he introduces the Bitcoin blockchain in the notion of e-cash.
Looking at the economy, whereby we're not supposed to be touching the money.
Yes, because I think the justification must have been. I think the justification must have been.
Yeah.
Probably the problems we faced in the financial crisis and meltdown of 2008, because of the unregulated cash inflows and outflows. You don't know how the money is made and how it goes.
Okay.
Because nobody can tell you the amount of shillings or $10,000, rather 10,000 shilling notes in circulation. Nobody knows.
Yes.
At least it must be a definite number, but nobody knows. So how about we knew that we can only have 2 billion shillings in circulation, as in cash circulation? How about if we could have only 21 million Bitcoin in circulation? Of course, with the code as the regulation, because we say code is law. So the kind of rules and regulations are enforced in code. You see?
Yes.
So that's how we got to having Bitcoin, to blockchains first and foremost, and then Bitcoin as an electronic form of cash.
All right. Anthony, when we do return after the break, I want us to at least look at developing a blockchain application.
All right.
How to do that. Then maybe also turn our eyes to a little bit more of the future ahead of us with the artificial intelligence. And then for the viewers out there, as we are here on Financial Markets, we're mainly discussing the revolution being ushered in by the blockchain, the metaverse, and of course, artificial intelligence. Lately, new developments coming up in technology that do seem like they're going to shape up the digital inclusion in regards to the financial matters within the world of technology and the world of money markets, I should say. We return with more here on Smart 24 TV. Keep it Financial Markets. I'm Joran Posok. All right, we'll be back from that break, that short commercial break. Here we are still talking financial matters on the financial markets. You are watching Smart 24 TV. I'm Joram Paul Sonko, and I hope you're doing well. Well, of course, I did mention that we are definitely looking at the discussion that is rotating pretty much around the revolution being ushered in by the blockchain technologies, artificial intelligence, and of course, not forgetting the metaverse. These are some of the discussions that are actually taking up. When you look at the ongoing reports being reported by mainstream media world over regarding big tech companies that actually, for example, investing heavily in artificial intelligence and laying off quite a number of workers, you get to realize that discussions to do with the technologies, especially this kind of talk, blockchain and all that, is what is going to be shaping up the world in the near future. I'm still with Engineer David Lumana, who is a blockchain software architect and engineer, trying to discuss more of this particular one. And David, if we're to look at ways of developing a blockchain application, let's look at that. What way or which kind of platform can one use to develop their own?
All right, so with development, it is a wide array of choices.
Okay. But
they are basic or starter, or sometimes just like development using some other software stacks that people use.
Okay.
The technology world usually gets affiliated, usually gets attracted to a particular ecosystem,
okay,
depending on certain factors like, how the project might be promising, yes, but how established is it in terms of the tooling to use? You see? So
yes,
if an ecosystem is quite mature enough, it is more likely to pull developers. So therefore, many people can start developing those applications, those dApps, that the way we call them, basing on the maturity of the ecosystem. But of course, technology is not about sentiments and being biased. You can choose and start from anywhere, because even things that we see being done right now, someone just grew, eccentric in opinion, and they chose their own path.
Yeah.
You see, but for more mature ecosystems, we have the Ethereum ecosystem, majorly.
Yes.
At least it is quite robust and established.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many layer tools that now try to overcome its challenges. Basically, the scaling problems it professes, at least for now. There are many. There is a NEAR protocol. You see, there is Solana, there is Internet Computer, there is Zilliqa, and a whole other array of choices. But still, the factors that determine what choice you make depend. One, I already talked about the maturity of the ecosystem. How established is it in society?
Yes. Because
by being established, in case you run into a problem, you can quickly find a solution or get guidance from someone who has already experienced the same problem.
Okay.
And that eases your development work.
Yes.
Then secondly, how appealing is the technology behind that project?
Okay.
You see, because the whole purpose of them giving us a white paper is to convince us that actually the project is here to stay and it has something of unique value to provide.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so should we say that a blockchain is only stored with only in a database format, or there is any other kind of file if you're storing it?
All right. So the blockchain is the way we explained made it basic, thinking that it is a simple database as a database file on the desktop. It's not like that. It is remember I mentioned it being a network.
Okay.
So the network, I said it is globally shared. So we are in Kampala. Someone could be in Kigali running being a network participant.
Yes.
Another one in Pretoria, Cairo, Lagos, and all over the world.
Okay.
You see? So there is particular software of a particular blockchain.
Yes.
So once you install that software on your machines, you become a node operator on that blockchain network.
That is after you're done.
That is now the how the architecture of the blockchain is built from ground up.
Okay.
You become a node participant or operator, you become a node on that network. So nodes make that blockchain, because if we combine them, that's when we combine node by node by node, that's how we form a chain of nodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, when you look at these issues, one may still want to understand operating a blockchain. I think I've asked you this question before you even went on air. Like, if I'm to start up my own, for example, I want to operate my own blockchain technology, set up my own blockchain application, for example, can I do it on my own, or I will still need a second-hand help? For example, when you look at the issues to do with online trading, you will need someone who is going to be in there, like a broker for you, or an intermediary in there to help you or assist you in your financial transactions. When you look at technologies, is it a one-man kind of development, or it goes both ways?
I can say yes, I can say no.
Okay.
But I would like to say no to a great extent, because the way software is built is never a one-man kind of job.
For you to sit down and
yes,
develop
because
something.
if you were to look at the development life cycle of software, there is the analysis stage of knowing what the problems are.
Yes.
At least that one, and the person who has the problem, who wants to find a solution, can know that. Of course, you know your problem, so you can analyze and say, you know what, I'm experiencing a problem, a challenge here, and here. Therefore, probably we build something like this. Then from the analysis phase, you go to the design phase. So as a layman, you will know the problem, but you may not have the technical know-how of doing the design decisions to build the application that you want. Unless if now you say you want to hire a team of someone else who has the technical know-how, which you called someone to help with.
When you're, for example, you're trading in.
Yes. Take an example. Take an example. The very first sketch of Facebook, at least we believe, was built by Zuckerberg.
Yes.
But is it only Zuckerberg developing Facebook?
Not really. So let's look at secret sharing.
All right.
In this perspective, does it have any benefit in blockchain technology?
Secret sharing?
Yes.
You see the intrinsic value that blockchains have to give you besides the transparency. Okay, it is quite contradictory that you talk about transparency and privacy to an extent, because how can someone be private and
willing to share?
So the privacy comes in a way that you cannot. Right now, I'm a person. Okay. I have a name, I have an address, I have maybe a phone number and a mail. Once you see those, you can just look at my mail and probably guess that this must be Lumala by virtue of looking at the mail, just like.
Yes.
So, but the way we address ourselves on the blockchain is quite unique and different, because what you will see is just a string of characters of an address, and you just cannot tell that this address is Joram's or. So that is the privacy bit. So secret sharing usually is what happens. We deal so much, or we dive so much effort onto having things, or having limiting interference. You see, the way you store your money in your custodial wallet is that it is only you who knows the amount of money, the balance in that wallet. Not so?
Yes.
So even with the blockchain, we try to capture that once you have value in a particular wallet, they give you a secret phrase or seed phrase that you can use to recover, only known to you.
Yes.
And then for that seed phrase, there exists a private key that is always known to you alone, or that should be known to you alone. Once you expose it, or once you accidentally divulge the information relating to that private key to someone, then they can drive you awash. They can steal your money, they can steal whatever assets that you keep in a particular wallet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've heard of a word called off-chain transactions somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know whether it is very applicable in blockchain, and what is it all about?
All right. So off-chain transactions usually blockchains are finite state machines. By finite state machines, I mean they have they are deterministic. They know once you give them input A, and you always compute. You expect B, even if it is 2025, even if it is 2030, for it to output B for any input A. Like that is deterministic. Just like telling you that 5 plus 5 is 10. Therefore, 10 minus 5 must give me 5.
Yes.
That is a deterministic system. We should always know the result. So that is how blockchains operate.
Yes.
You see? So bringing it back to you, to the idea of being off-chain, the real world is not deterministic.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. It is a combination of so many things and factors. You see?
Yes.
But it is that random. You see, actually things are random in the real world. It can shine in the morning, in the afternoon it rains, in the evening it shines. You see?
Yes.
Yet you leave home early morning telling you that the weather, the weather app telling you, telling you it is probably gonna rain.
Or not.
Or not. So that is how the world operates. So even since blockchains are building solutions, or we are using blockchain to build solutions for the real world, we need to capture that aspect of being non-deterministic, what we call stochastic. Things that happen randomly, suddenly. You see? Yeah. So that's where we bring in an aspect of using off-chain transactions to capture information, or to use to do transactions on chain, but bringing in an off-chain kind of element. That is where oracles come into play, because oracles have the capability to monitor things in the real world and then capture that information or use that information in the dApps built on chain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And now let's look at artificial intelligence, for instance here.
Okay.
When you are, if you are there, and I do believe we've got to realize that artificial intelligence has now started taking shape. For those who have been following up with information regarding more so details to do with international updates in regards to business, you realize that big tech companies are now investing heavily in artificial intelligence. It is not the same case in Africa, because of course artificial intelligence that need a lot of money for investment. There are very few African investors or very few African firms that are investing. That is it. That is if they can ably invest in them or have the capacity of investing in artificial intelligence. But when you look at big tech companies, Yahoo, Google, Amazon, name them, they are already cutting off some employees, remaining with only a few. Twitter, for example, started that as well last year. There is Tesla. So following up on all that, artificial intelligence goes way beyond use of only machines to operate. A job that can be done by maybe 10,000, for example, 10 people, one robot can do it. But it also goes back now to the type of intelligence that is being input into pretty much more developments or apps on our gadgets to at least make it very easier. Now, engineer, if we are to look at artificial intelligence, first, where does this leave our kind of jobs that we are used to? Office day jobs. You wake up, go to office, work. Now, artificial intelligence is pretty much making it very simple, that it can do a task given to 5 people and in the shortest period of time.
The shortest period. All right. So let us first understand the notion of artificial intelligence itself.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence is the idea that we can use machines,
yes,
or we can replicate human thinking and operation, yes, in machines. You see, of course, the benefits that come with that include, greater throughput and more efficiency and effectiveness in job operations and executions. Okay, so there are 2 dimensions to look at this, the effect it will have on us, because people have been arguing that actually we shall all have to lose jobs because of AI. Maybe in the long run, but not in the near future. You know why? Artificial intelligence itself is trained on, there are branches in artificial intelligence that normally prove to be the face of artificial intelligence. So when you check open.chatgpt, that link to give you access to ChatGPT, it does not give you references to what sources it derives its information from. But behind the scenes, there's a whole designated sort of database and data store that keeps mapping your query to particular responses that probably fit or will suit the answer you need.
Yes.
So that is machine learning, because someone sat somewhere, they trained this machine, or to train came up with the machine learning algorithm to capture particular outputs for any given inputs matching, providing a match.
Yes.
So that is what artificial intelligence is for people who do not take it deeper. So what effect is it to have? Of course, for we the software engineers, number one, a task being done by 200 people right now can be narrowed down to 3 people using artificial intelligence. You see? So the thing to mark here is to get adaptive, get to learn how to use the technology coming along, because I believe even the people who saw cars coming for the first time had to find a way to adapt to using cars instead of getting stuck on 2 camels and horses.
Yes, because it was a new evolution and they had to step up. Yes.
So it did not mean that once you have cars, we threw away the camels. The people use camels as well. You see? But it lessened their need, their demand. Because cars were more efficient, cars were more, faster in executing the travel kind of movement. So people must learn, must cope, if I may say, with the revolution that artificial intelligence is bringing. Get to understand how it operates and use it to better yourself. Actually, there's a very nice topic online in one of the forums I follow. Someone was saying that artificial intelligence itself may not take away your duty or your role or your job, but someone who uses it well will.
Okay.
You see, artificial intelligence, because once for me to run audits on a smart contract, before I tell ChatGPT to run the audits and then it gives me results that I don't understand, I myself need to understand how audit results are read, such that when it gives output I can be in position to judge. You see, so let us use artificial intelligence to better ourselves, because let us better understand our jobs, because that's when it will be helpful and useful.
Okay. Yeah. And the metaverse, the evolution of the metaverse. When you look at it, sometimes people feel like, are we getting into a kind of a programmed world, sort of, whereby either way you're going to bail out and miss out on opportunities when it comes to, because sometimes with technology, the funny twist about technology is when you delay to adopt very fast, you're losing out.
Surely you do.
And the world that we are living in, you are losing out in monetary terms. So when you look at adapting to the metaverse, I know you've said we need to adapt we just need to start adapting, because it is now the new, it's more kind of, it's what I would say, it is now the new order of life. So when you look at the metaverse, what else does it present that, for example, people into the financial markets would need to tap in?
Right, so the metaverse is a whole new lane or plane of existence. You see? Yes. We are seated here. We can create another world where we are seated like this, but we remain here. But see, we coexist with our what they call digital twins. You see?
Yeah.
So still the lesson came from the COVID lockdown periods.
Yes.
You see, because there was a time people were just locked in their homes, and they lacked that social interaction the way it used to happen pre-lockdown. You see, so the metaverse has been around for some time, because especially to people who do gaming, just that it wasn't it wasn't pronounced. It wasn't so evident. You see, but upon lockdown, people realized that actually we can still maintain the social interaction even when we are isolated. So that accelerated the effects of the metaverse that we see. So ideally, the way you exist, these are virtual worlds. People who are core gamers understand the aspect of virtual worlds and how they exist as agents and players in the virtual world. So I think that the time is due for everyone to get to understand how the metaverse is what the metaverse is first and foremost, and how they can live in and with it. You see, because a whole company like Facebook, by the time it chooses to drop the old name which it is known for, its market making name, for something more friendlier to the metaverse so that it can cause an appealing look and attention, then it must be something big. You see, just like it is with all technology, it is always pervasive. It sweeps you. So whether it is in financial markets, whether it is in health, whether it is in entertainment and esport, whether it is everything.
Yeah.
So coming back to the financial markets lane, I'm not so much of a financial expert, but at least I can give you a picture.
Yes.
We have banking entities in the physical world. They are equally, because once you exist in the metaverse, maybe you will work in the metaverse in some way. Okay. You will have to earn, and therefore you will have to explore opportunities in the metaverse.
Okay.
Using your money, you earn virtual money in the metaverse, and then of course people will start developing technologies to mimic the real world. The way things are operated or are run here, okay, will be done as well in the metaverse. Yeah. A very nice example here is Dubai and the United Arab Emirates. I'm seeing Singapore also catching up, the Philippines and other countries in Asia. Yes. But Dubai has a policy has constituted a policy of trying to pull themselves to be the #1 crypto hub in the world. By crypto hub, you see, the whole bracket is Web3. When you talk of crypto hub, now they consider the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, the metaverse now, and then AI elements coming into play, into the fold. So many government agencies in Dubai are developing digital twins because for them they are preparing themselves for the digital realm. Okay. So any service that you can get in the physical world, because once you exist in the digital world, someone can still commit a crime against you. Where will you report? Because it is an injustice in some way, and you have to be served justice. You see, now they have to put the whole Department of Justice and Constitutional Affairs into the metaverse. Because once we are human beings, we make mistakes, and so much comes along. You see, once you are making money in the physical world, because you do work, even in the metaverse, once you do work, you have to be paid. And maybe since you invest in the real world, you still would love to invest in the metaverse. You get the picture. Yes. So that is how diverse it is so unthought of, because every day there is a new definition of a metaverse. There's no clear definition that actually once you say this, but we give characteristics, and once you combine those characteristics, maybe we create a picture of what it is. Yes. Yeah.
And engineer, lastly, your recommendations for those who are actually engaging in and creating blockchain applications. How best can they tap in as we are finally summing up with our discussion?
All right. So we have I should say policy. Yes. In this space. The #1 policy or the #1 rule to the game, yes, is always getting informed, and preferably getting informed beforehand. Okay. And the best way to do that is to put in an individual effort to find the information, and legitimate information perhaps, because you can find information and you consume information that is misleading. So we always say you have to do your own research, Number one, because someone, even if you were to read someone's statement, they can be giving their own opinion, which is not what it is. So always find information to the at least by doing your research, you compare opinions from different speakers and presenters. You get to understand how to go about something. Then to the people who want to start developing applications majorly, because now that is my realm, there are so many wonderful starter resources and YouTube channels, because in this space, it being so young, there's no clear-cut channel or clear-cut body of knowledge that you need to follow. However, as time has gone by, standards are coming up. Maybe if you are trying to build this, the best way to do it is through approach A, B, C, and D. You see? But there are so many wonderful resources online you can check out. Actually, it should begin with the ecosystem you want to build with, because the ecosystem is the #1 research site that you should always visit. You see? Once you have the ecosystem site, they always give you. There's always a panel for developers. There's always a place where developers can go to start developing. Actually, they always tell you, developers portfolio here, maybe we are hiring and things like that. Then the other tools that for doing your research, YouTube is a very crucial tool, because by on YouTube, you find someone who has experienced something you are going through. There is a very high chance that whatever you experience, someone has gone through it before. You see, unless if it is totally a novel challenge that you are the one to face it first. But as well, even if you are, try to find solutions and now publish for the what. That's why we are so much of strong advocates for the open source community. That whichever code, whichever resource that we come up with, we make it open source such that even other people use that to build their what, or to better this product and then build others as well. You see. There's so many wonderful sites, but the most, what I personally have found most informative for a starter is Coinbase.com. They explain to you the newbie way, they explain to you the starter way.
Okay.
So once you find that information, you can even go to, for people who are in financial markets, you can go to investopedia.com, and then you slash what subject you want to research about.
Okay.
And then they will give you information relative to that. So once you have those resources, and then it comes back to the individual effort again, your commitment and dedication to have something done, because this is something so new that nobody will be there to monitor whether you have it wrong or right. So it is you to check, always check out, am I doing it the right way or the wrong way? And even if I'm doing it the wrong way, I have to remain, persistent and continue improving. You see, because at least as it stands, no university so far in Uganda has a course on that. The people who are learning or who are doing something on it are self-taught, all self-taught. And what I'm giving you are the principles of teaching yourself how to do it.
Okay.
And then the dedication, and then the time you give it as well.
Yes.
And of course, coming up with live projects, because you have to learn by doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And surely that is it from Engineer David Lumana, who is a blockchain software architect and engineer, who is actually giving us more of our discussion. So we were actually having conversations rotating around the revolution being ushered in by the blockchain, the metaverse, and of course artificial intelligence. You've been watching Financial Markets. It's exactly midday. Good afternoon, and many thanks for sticking to Smart 24 TV. At 1 p.m. you will be getting into Yugi to Call with Fred Makuya. Keep it here. Follow us more on GoTV channel 394, DSTV is channel 372, and then our YouTube channel Smart 24 TV Live. And then also do remember that we can give you more updates on our website www.smart24.tv/news. Have a good day.
Okay.